What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk about SoFi. So yesterday we had the Fed meeting. For the most part, was good, positive to some degree. A lot of growth stocks really rallied based on that information, with the exception of SoFi. And you can even tell based at the very bottom, pre-market it is down. But still, a lot of people want to know, why is SoFi down as much as they are? So I'm going to be talking about that, go over some updated data points, very relevant to a lot of investors, and tie it all together with some technical analysis at the end. But before I get into any of that though, making sure you guys hit that thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Greatly appreciate that. If you like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said though, let's get right to it. So as far as data points, there's a couple of things I've been really watching for over the last little bit, one of which is short information, because short interest on SoFi has been significantly high, and I like to use short interest as a good benchmark. So I'm just going to briefly touch on this. Obviously the market isn't necessarily open right now, but as of yesterday, close of yesterday, they did close out 1.1%. So I find that a little bit more abnormal, especially during a kind of a lagging day. The fact that they close out their positions, which in theory would cause them to buy back their shares, adding buying pressure. But yet again, we didn't rally. So this is kind of adds to the confusion overall. And they did close out 3.71 million shares overall. And short interest is 16.51. So it's gone down considerably. Cost to borrow is also at 7.57. Overall, it is what it is, but still does show in kind of a hints that there is still manipulation. Even yesterday or a day before, cost to borrow minimum was still negative, insinuating there's brokers still out there paying people to short SoFi. Doesn't make sense at the end of the day, but still, like I said, it is what it is. But also I just want to mention as well, I am not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But I just want to draw your attention to the very bottom. So that is the live ticker. Obviously this is pre-market, but as of right now, 91,000 shares being purchased by institutions just today alone. So that's one thing I always bring up in a lot of my videos: block volume, institutions purchasing, and that is on the secondary market. I've been really focusing now and kind of watching is on the dark pool. So dark pool is basically an exchange outside of the secondary market intended for institutions to trade amongst each other, just so it doesn't cause so much volatility or extreme volatility in the secondary markets. And I like to watch this because if you look right here, there is some significant buying going on. Even in one specific order, 8.93 million. But even outside of that, all collectively together, it does look like roughly about 12, if not more, $1 million worth of purchasing being done. So clearly, behind the scenes, a lot of institutions have been buying. And unfortunately, like I just mentioned as well about short interest, manipulation on SoFi has been really running rampant over the last little bit. And unfortunately, its direct competitors are institutions. So institutions clearly do not want SoFi to go up, but they clearly know that there is a significant value because look at the purchasing that is happening behind the scenes. And as much as NOTO has been really buying lately, unfortunately, I don't think he's dropping $8.93 million, but I could be wrong. That could be him. But still, on that side note though, there's one thing as well I just wanted to talk on. So I'm just going to quickly pop over to Interactive Brokers. Before I get into kind of the nitty gritty, I just wanted to bring up good old Jim Cramer. You can take this how you see this. It might be a negative, but oddly enough, he does say that SoFi is, in other words, a good buying opportunity right now. He said, if they've got the deposits, then they will do very well compared to other banks. If they have the deposits, you're going to do very well because the Fed is basically going to give you free money. So that's why he says in his 2 cents on SoFi. But getting right to it though, unfortunately, there was some things that was said during the Morgan Stanley CRE Conference that caused a lot of investors to kind of be rubbed the wrong way. So I'm not going to go through this in general because whoever was the transcript and kind of typed it all out wasn't necessarily the best, but still, you kind of get the concept of what they're talking about, and it goes exactly word for word what they said. So like I mentioned, I'm not necessarily going to touch on this. If you do like a lot of this information, take a look at Interactive Brokers or click on the link in the description below or the comments. Just play around, has a lot of good information such as this. But some takeaways that I saw is, especially coming from NOTO, he did say a lot of the things such as major mortgage purchasing and other credit cards is all coming at the tail end of 2022. And I think that's a common thing that was being said, is that everything's being pushed back to the tail end of 2022. I am just going to talk on a couple different points, one of which is right here. So they talk on and start talking about the bear market that we're in and how they're preparing for that. Anthony does say that they've been preparing ever since the pandemic hit in March of 2020. So he goes on to say that unfortunately they've been really taking a step back. That's one of the common things that he's really been saying in this specific thing. So if you're going to reread this, it is point number 4. But he does say that they've made some strategic decisions to really kind of take a step back. So in the end, it kind of does match in line with exactly what he's saying with other throughout the rest of the transcript, saying the tail end of 2022 is basically where they're going to really be ramping it up. So that's not what investors want to hear. They want to hear that they are constant throughout this whole time. But I clearly do get it that in the future, obviously they have a little bit more expectations tail end, as does a lot of other companies. But some things as well that I did find very interesting right here is that they do talk on as far as their loans. So unfortunately, Anthony Noto, maybe his wording wasn't necessarily correct, or again, maybe whoever was transcribing this wasn't the best, but he does talk on the personal loans and saying that they were significantly affected by this, by the memorandum. So that's something is especially a very touchy subject, even though technically the loans is a very small component of SoFi that we've already established. A lot of people really do focus on that because I do believe it's between the 35 to 50 million that SoFi is losing out on potential revenue every quarter. So I think no matter what, it's a little bit more of a touchy subject, and he does say that in this. So I feel like that is one of the common things, is saying that they've been really slowing down. And again, this is my own 2 cents, how I interpreted this, saying that ultimately they've been kind of slowing down to prepare for the pandemic ever since that hit, that they haven't really expanded as fast as they could have. And then they obviously talk on that student loan memorandum, but still, those are some things that were brought up. There is a lot of positive things that was brought from this, but again, you know how investors are. They like to focus on the 1 or 2 gray things, because even what Anthony said, by no means was it negative. That's my own 2 cents. Just it's a little bit more gray. It can be left for interpretation, and that interpretation could be converted to negative depending on if you are having a pro stance or negative stance on SoFi. So I think overall, this is the only attributing factor that is causing SoFi to go down as much as it is. But at the end of the day, if you are a long-term investor in SoFi, you just need to keep on doing what Anthony is doing and just continuously buy. So if you do want this transcript, let me know, or just click on the interactive brokers or in the comments. I can definitely provide that with you. I personally see this as a very strong positive at the end, because like I said, there's a lot of good things that was discussed in this, but I just wanted to do this video and let you guys know why SoFi was lagging yesterday, and even why it's most likely continuing and rolling over into today, why we're currently down 3.11%. So still, like I said, it is what it is, but hands down, like I already mentioned, looking at what institutional purchasing is happening behind the scenes, whether even right now 702,000 shares being purchased, and even more so behind the scenes on the dark pool, a lot of big money is buying. So don't necessarily always listen to a lot of the FUD that is out there, because that will completely drive you insane. Again, my own 2 cents. So like I said, I'm going to do a little bit more technical analysis and wrap this baby up. So looking here, I do have that 50, 100, 200-day moving averages, Bollinger Bands, RSI, stochastic, and momentum. So despite us going down yesterday and a little bit more today, we still do have that deviation, so black line above the red. So in general though, I think that is the case because we are extremely oversold. That's, I think, a complete understatement. But despite everything though, I think a lot of fear was still being entered into the market. You can see number of buyers has gone down significantly, and you can tell that based on the momentum indicator. So that's something maybe we need to really watch for. Looking on the actual chart though, still lower percentile of the Bollinger Band, so we do need to get over some very pivotal points, and those pivotal points are right here. Looking at the Fibonacci, $6.78. That is the next big point that we need to watch for. But right now we are still trading between the S1 and the pivot, and we're getting very eerily close to that $5.55 mark, but still, we are still between the S1 and the pivot, which in general, if you are going to compare that with other growth stocks, we're still doing a lot better despite us not rallying yesterday. So it's all just perspective, right? I personally don't see it as that big of a deal that we didn't rally yesterday, because there's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of people trying to keep SoFi down as much as they are, especially by taking that transcript and just converting it to their own benefit. So I think think that SoFi is a great buying opportunity. Clearly Jim Cramer does, but I don't know if you believe in that curse. Whatever he says is the opposite. Maybe that's the reason why we went down. Who knows? But let me know your thoughts on SoFi in the comments below, and if you did read through that transcript or listened into that conference, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below as well, your overall kind of takeaway from that, because I did read it. I personally see it as a lot of positive things that was discussed. It sounded like they were pushing a lot of things back to the tail end 2022, but still, overall, they are not canceling things. They're just kind of strategically prioritizing things. So I think he did say that specifically as well. But still, you guys get what I'm saying. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Greatly appreciate that. And if you like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.